What if I told you that becoming a millionaire is less about becoming something different and more about actually stopping the things that are standing in your way? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. Let's go.
Joining us is my man, Keala Kanae.
Keala Kanae, he takes entrepreneurs on a journey to grow their business.
Here are 5 things that I had to give up in order to become a multimillionaire, and number 5 is absolutely hands down the most important. So stick with me up until the end of this video. A question that I asked one of my first mentors was, what do you think is the number one thing that keeps most people from building wealth and success? And he said, it's shame and guilt. And here's why. On this end of the spectrum, we have the altruist. And on this end of the spectrum, we have the narcissist. Now, the altruist is giving away their time, energy, money, and resources to everybody else. They put everybody else before themselves. The narcissist is just the opposite. They're taking from everybody else as much as they can. They have like the world's greatest sense of entitlement. You cannot create wealth and success if you're constantly putting everybody else before you. And the more shame and guilt that we carry and adopt throughout our life, the more altruistic we become, because we begin to undermine ourselves in comparison to others. We begin to subjugate ourselves to others. We begin to try to give away all of our time, energy, money, and resources to other people in order to try to make up for the shames and guilts of the past. And all of those shames and guilts, by the way, are bullshit. They're lies. First, let's define this. Shame is when we perceive that we've caused ourselves more harm than good, and guilt is what we experience when we perceive that we've caused somebody else more harm than good. And both are the result of a lopsided perspective. What I mean by that is you can literally not have, in the physical universe, you cannot have a negative without a positive or a positive without a negative. You can't have a benefit without a drawback or a drawback without a benefit. This is not religion, this is not philosophy, this is physics. And I don't have the time in this video to go all the way down that rabbit hole, so I'm going to summarize it for you succinctly here. When we perceive shame, when we feel shame, we feel that we have caused ourselves more harm than good. Literally what's really happening is we're conscious of the drawbacks that we've caused to ourselves, but we're unconscious of the benefits. When we feel guilt and we feel that we've caused somebody else more harm than good, it means that we're conscious of the harm that we caused that person, but we're unconscious of the benefits to that person. And the more of these lies that we carry around throughout our life, the more that we undermine our self-worth. We diminish our self-worth over time. Now, I want to be clear here. I'm also not saying that we should all be narcissists. Narcissists live at the other end of the spectrum. What I am saying, though, is that in life, in order to create wealth and success, we should seek fair exchange. Fair exchange is right down the middle of these two ends of the spectrum. And in fair exchange, I want to offer you real value. I want to offer the world real value. I want to deliver a service of love to the world, and I want to get paid in equal proportion to the value that I'm delivering. That is fair exchange. Now, I don't expect something from you for nothing, and you don't expect something from me for nothing. Either one of those would be the other end of the spectrum, altruist or narcissist. So what we really want to aim for in life to build wealth is fair exchange, that we're willing to give and take in equal proportion to both help ourselves achieve our highest human potential and give to others something that we can offer the world that helps others achieve the highest of their human potential. And what could be more beautiful than that? The second thing that I had to give up is any sense of stability. When I say stability, I'm talking about things like, a steady paycheck, comfort, security. These are all illusions anyway. But most people, though, will still sacrifice their tomorrow for what feels good today. What feels good today is having that cheeseburger. It'll come at the cost of your health tomorrow. What feels good today is buying that designer purse, but it'll come at the cost of your wealth tomorrow. So if you're going to be a millionaire, whether you want to do that through, saving and investing for long term, or if you're going to do that through entrepreneurship and building a business that delivers a service of love to the marketplace, well, either way, you're going to have to get very comfortable with instability. You're going to have to take lots of risks in order to move forward. And you're going to have to take those risks in volatile environments. So typically the millionaires that I know are grounded, they're centered, they're certain. They can be stable in unstable climates. The whole world can be, rapidly changing around them. As the wind blows and there is chaos and frustration, they are clear on where they are steering their ship. And so if you're one of those people that feels like stability is important, or you're surrounded by people that are constantly talking about, the secure paycheck, the safety of a good job, a healthy retirement, and all of these things, then it's going to be very, very difficult to break the habits necessary for you to become a millionaire. Number 3, stop listening to the opinion of others. I was having a conversation with a mentor of mine once, sitting down at a table, having a discussion, and in that discussion I brought up, recently I was talking to my mom, and here's some ideas that I came up with. And he was like, whoa, hold on. Did you do any of the things that I told you to do? I was like, well, no, not really, because I was talking to my mom and I came with these other ideas. And he was like, listen, Keala, if we're going to work together, there's going to be some ground rules. And one of those ground rules is going to be that you are not allowed to take advice from people who do not have the results that you want to have. I I was like, well, what do you mean? He said, well, let's think about it. Does your mom have the results that you want to have in life? Now, listen, I love my mom. I appreciate my mom. I wouldn't be here without my mom. At the same time, I didn't want to create the results that she had created in life. So I'm looking at him, I was like, well, no. And he goes, well, then how can she show you how to get to a place that she's never been? And boom. Right there, the light bulb went off. At that point, I'd been an entrepreneur for about 10 years of my life. And I started looking back immediately and I could see all the times that I asked my dad, my mom, my friends, my family members, my coworkers, colleagues, questions about things that I was doing as if their opinions were important when in reality, none of them had ever created the life or results that I want to create. So how could they possibly show me how to get to a place that they had never been? And yet I had never taken that into account. And so for years, I'd been steered off course because I was taking advice from the wrong people. From that conversation forward, I now only take advice from people that have what I want to have, meaning that they have been down the road that I'm on, they know a few things, they've learned a few lessons, and I can learn from their experience. Now, I am not saying that you shouldn't take the opinions from anybody. I definitely have mentors and coaches, and those are people whose opinions that I trust because they have the results that I'm seeking to get. And if you want to become a millionaire, then stop listening to anybody who's not one. The fourth thing that I had to give up is entertainment. Now listen, I love video games, movies, TV shows just as much as probably anybody else. And yet there were several years of my life when I cut that stuff out almost completely. In fact, I don't have any video games in my house still to this day because I know that I'll get caught up playing Grand Theft Auto, or better called Grand Theft All of My Dreams. Millionaires tend to understand that education is more important than entertainment. And they value learning. They value learning long after high school and college is over. And I can tell you this as well. I used to think that I didn't like learning. I used to think that I didn't like reading. But it turns out that really, I just didn't like learning and reading all of the shit that they made me read and learn in school. Once I really got my hands on things that were inspiring for me, YouTube videos, podcasts, audiobooks, and books about success, money, finance, business, and these sorts of things, well then I couldn't get enough of it. And I spent several years with my head down, feeding my mind full of information that was necessary for me to create the life that I have today. Now today I do have some entertainment, right? We will hang out in the evening sometimes and Netflix and chill, or HBO and Happy Time, or Prime and Happy Time. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So in the evenings, sometimes from time to time here, I will hang out, have a glass of wine, watch a show with my girl. But for the most part, I have learned to value education over entertainment. And if you want to be a millionaire, I would suggest that you log out of the entertainment and focus on the education instead. All right, number 5, and this is absolutely hands down the number one most important of all. Stop being a victim. I used to be one of those people in life that thought if I just found the right product or the right compensation plan or the right upline or the right mentor, or if my mom had spent more time with me growing up, or if my dad didn't work as often, or if the economy was a different way, if the Republicans were in charge, if the Democrats were in charge, if the president was different, if my boss wasn't such a jerk. In other words, if something out here would just finally change, then one day I would have the life that I had always dreamed of. And unfortunately, that is how most people live. They live as if life is something that is happening to us. And I can tell you this, we are happening to life. Let me ask you a question. How can you change something that you won't first take responsibility for? And as long as you live that way, you will be a victim. You'll give away all of your power, all of your remarkableness, all of your magnificence. You'll give it away to all of these outside forces and diminish and undermine your own innate, magnificent ability. When I finally realized this, I decided to take responsibility for my life. And that's not the same as fault, by the way. That's not saying that I'm at fault for everything that's going on in my life. No, it's that this is happening and I am responsible for changing it. If something is happening to me that's unexpected, that I feel is unfortunate, great. It's still my responsibility to deal with it, to cope with it in a way that is going to be healthy and beneficial, and that is going to help me continue to create the life that I've always dreamed about. That is responsibility. And until you will take responsibility for your life, nothing changes. So if you want to Netflix and chill, HBO and wax, Prime and Happy Time, then please go somewhere else. But if you would like to learn more valuable content like this, then make sure you subscribe, hit that little bell notification so you get notified every week when I drop more content like this. And by the way, in case we've never met before, my name is Keala Kanae. I'm an entrepreneur that got started a few short years ago while working a in a coffee shop for minimum wage, and I've gone on now to build multiple 7- and 8-figure businesses. And I say all of that not to impress you, but to let you know that everything I share on my channel comes from real-world applied knowledge that has helped me create that transformation in my life, and I share it here in hopes that it can help you create similar results as well. So make sure you subscribe, hit that little bell notification, and make sure you watch the next video in the lineup where I'm going to talk more about these success secrets. I'll see you there.